Hey guys, how's it going? Andrew here, Enough Said Cards on Sunday evening. Hope you're all doing well. We are just over a week until the start of the National in Cleveland, and I'm really looking forward to the show. I will be driving there a week from Tuesday and staying all the way through Sunday. So really looking forward to it and hope to catch up with a lot of you at the show. Um, Seemed like this would be an appropriate time to make this video. I discussed in my last video possibly showing some cards that I had acquired by trade, and I picked out 6 cards. Most of these I actually did acquire by trading at shows with dealers. So I wanted to kind of just discuss how I've done that and bring it up as a possible way, for you guys to consider acquiring cards that either you can't afford paying cash for, or as a way to move cards that are in your collection that may not be so meaningful for you, and move up into stuff that you like better. So let's just get right into the cards. We'll start with this one, since I have not shown this on my channel before. I got it relatively recently. This is from 1911 by Cadbury Chocolates, and this is the Olympic and Titanic, largest steamers in the world. This is not actually a set, but this is the only card that they produced, which was distributed with their chocolates. And you can see there it says Olympic and Titanic. The Olympic was the Titanic's sister ship, which I believe actually stayed in service into at least the 30s, maybe into the 40s. This is a representation of both ships. I think they looked very similar to each other. You can see White Star Line and the weight of the ship. This is the back. And PSA has graded, I think, 45 of these cards. So not super rare, but you don't see a ton of them. And it's something I've been looking for a while. I traded for this at the Chantilly show, and I traded with a dealer that I'm familiar with, and I gave up a 1957 Topps Bob Cousy rookie, 1-for-1 trade, and acquired this. The reason I have the grade covered up is I wanted to give you guys a chance to look at this card and see what you think the grade might be. Give you just another quick look at it. And this was interesting for me because when I traded for this card, it was in an SGC 1 holder. Sent it to PSA and came back a 1.5, so not much of a bump, but I think that this is the appropriate grade. And this was the first time I had sent something to PSA where they provided grader notes, and the note indicated that there was a tear in the card. I thought that this was a crease, which you can kind of see when I zoom in there along the left edge there. It is visible on the back, so maybe it is a tear. I don't know. But just thought it was a nice looking example of the card. Really presents better than a 1.5 in my opinion. So happy to have that one in the collection. And I liked the Cousy rookie as well, but that's something I can get again if I want to. Next up, this is a T205 Tai Cobb, and I acquired this, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago at the White Plains show in New York, and there was a dealer there that I'm familiar with, and I see him. He'll be at the National, and I had brought some stuff up from my collection, not stuff that I was necessarily looking to move, but if I saw something that I liked more, to try to move into a bigger card. And I don't remember exactly what it was that I traded for this, but was really pleased with this card. Just kind of a general note on trading. It is a really good way to acquire cards that you may not be able to purchase outright, if you don't have the cash or whatever. But when you bring stuff to trade, particularly with dealers, these trades, I'm pleased with all of them. I feel like they worked out for me, but you kind of also have to understand that dealers are there to make a profit, not to break even. So sometimes if you give up a little bit more, you're more likely to be able to accomplish a trade with a dealer. But was able to move, I think it was 3 or 4 cards, and get the Cobb there. This one I showed in my last video, but I'll show it again as well. 1922 American Caramel, E121 Babe Ruth holding the ball. And I gave up 5 cards plus a little bit of cash for this Ruth. Now this was an instance where the cards that I gave up, and I gave up some good stuff for this. Gave up my Walter Johnson T206, Koufax rookie. I gave up a 1916 M101 5 blank back Honus Wagner card. And I feel like the total value of the stuff that I traded plus the cash was about an even trade for this. Now, the reason that I think the dealer may have done it is the cards that I gave him, I think it was 5 cards, would be much easier for him to move than to move kind of a bigger card. There's only, so many people that go to shows, and I got this at the Philly show earlier this year, that can, just purchase a card like this outright for cash. So I think it worked out for both of us. It probably, will be a lot easier for him to move the smaller cards, and I was able to add this beautiful Ruth card to my collection. Okay, next up, this is probably the biggest card at this point in my collection, and I acquired it in trade. This is a 1910 Tip Top Bred Honus Wagner SGC2. And I got this a couple years ago also. This is a card that had been on my want list for a while. And the way that I got this card is this card and another card that I wanted, I don't remember what it is at this point, but were in an REA auction. And I was bidding on both of them, could only afford one of them. And I ended up getting the other card. I wish I could remember what it was, but about 2 weeks after the auction ended, this popped up on eBay at a much increased price. And I recognized the person that was selling it, their name, and I was able to find them, contact them, and acquire this card in a trade. And I traded a 1921 Exhibits Babe Ruth and a N28 Allen and Ginter King Kelly card. And I want to say maybe $1,000 in cash or something also for this Wagner. And although I loved those cards that I traded, I viewed it as that those cards were both replaceable and that this would be much more difficult to acquire. This was a big card at the time that I got it. It was, worth in the vicinity of $6,000 or so, but goes for a considerable amount more now. And I was able to reacquire the Exhibits Ruth. Still don't have the Kelly, but really, this is one of my favorite cards in my collection. So pleased with the way that trade worked out. Running out of room here. Have 2 more. But, again, as we're, those of us that are heading to Cleveland or getting ready for the National, you may want to consider going through your collections and bringing some stuff with you, just in case you see a bigger card that you can't, afford to pay cash for. And obviously there's trade nights and, plenty of opportunities to trade, but I'm kind of more talking about trading with dealers. And this next card is another card that I got in trade with a dealer. Get that glare out of there. And this is a T206 Tai Cobb with a polar bear back. This is the bat off shoulder. I think it's a nice example of the card. SGC3, which I think is the appropriate grade. And I got this at a Philly show a couple years ago, trading with a dealer. I had a Vlad Guerrero Sapphire Chrome autograph card that I had pulled out of a pack, and was able to trade that and cash. It was probably an equivalent amount of cash to what that was worth at the time. That was, I don't know what that would be worth now, but it was a pretty hot card when I traded it. but was able to get into this Cobb card without having to, pay all cash for it. So cash plus the Guerrero, and I was really pleased to get this one. One more look there at the polar bear. And then finally, this 1934 Tigers Annis Furs card of Hank Greenberg, which is a card that I was looking for literally years. And I think there's, I don't know, about 10 examples of this card that are graded, and maybe obviously probably a few more that are raw. But this popped up of all places on Facebook for sale at a very high price that I could not afford, but contacted the person that was trying to sell it, worked out a trade. For this one, I was able to, I think I gave up, maybe 8 to 10 cards in exchange for this. And, again, they were cards that I liked, but, was actually pretty happy with the trade, and obviously glad that the guy was willing to trade since I couldn't afford this card otherwise. It's a PSA 2. And one more look, just a blank back there. But these are really tough, and so I would have hated to have lost out on this card because I couldn't afford to buy it. So just a thought. If you have some stuff in your collection that maybe isn't so meaningful to you, bring it to the National, bring it to shows, if local shows, wherever you're going, and it's a good way that if you find a dealer that's willing to trade with you, that you can move up into some bigger cards. That's it for tonight. Hope to see you all in Cleveland, and I will catch up with you soon. Bye.